Hello again, welcome back to Three Bridges. I'm Mark, this is my layout in the loft and just another sort of couple of weeks update of what I've been up to. So if you watched the previous ones, you'll know that I'm working on this section here. So we're south of How on the Hill station, and this is where my underground line sort of heads underneath London. So I've got about a 1.8 metre section at the back here to fill in. And for the half a dozen of you that joined after Tony Northeastern's recommendation, welcome to the channel. Anyway, I'll take you downstairs and show you what I've been up to. So I've started back on the factory warehouse scene at the back where my underground lines start to incline down, and I've extended the boards that support it now to the full sort of 1.8 meters, so 5 feet. It's so large that I can't work at it on a desk. I've got it propped up on the old balance downstairs. So what I want to start working on now is, so you finish off the retaining wall, so this part's all been glued on now. I've got to just put in this section here, work on this section down here, so this is just the end part that will and then start putting some detail in front of the different warehouse units as I've got them made up. And then the final bit is the new section at the end. This is where I want to start introducing some of the London flats that you used to see from the train line as you headed into Marylebone. So where to start with this end section where I want to have some flats? This is another Scale Scenes kit. I decided I would use this and kit bash it, and also use the original kit as well. I made this a while back actually. I think when shortly after we moved into the house, it's probably a couple of years ago, and it was just before I did the Paul Mark low roof flats myself at the back. I just thought I'd make a kit first just to get an idea of how to put a sort of multiple balcony structure together, and I learned quite a bit from it, which helped me make the Paul Mark flats. So it's a great little kit. It doesn't take very long to actually make. So it's only about 4 sheets of paper as well. So there's basically one big sheet that has all the windows and doors, and then you basically infill with some concrete columns, and then you've got the balconies that basically just bridge across the two end struts. I took a photo of it, and that one's to sit at the back as a part of a mock-up. But looking at other London estates, they join together and you often get balconies across, so I quite like the idea of having a balcony across from one set of block of flats to another. And I also wanted to be able to see into the scene, so I'm going to have a block of flats that is only 2 or 3 flats high at the front so that you can see through it, and also want to be able to see underneath it. So you often saw cars parked underneath flats. So the one at the front I'm going to kit bash quite extensively. The first point I did was do a mock-up of how I want the scene to look roughly. I hadn't really thought about it at first. When I was originally going to use the back scene as one of the built kits, but when you actually look at the photograph I took just to do the mock-up, there's not a lot of difference between the two actually. It's slightly more faded, which helps because it's sat in the background. So I'm just going to use the picture of the actual build as the back scene one. I don't see the need to remake it. So, and obviously it just gives me another centimetre to the scene. So I'll mount that on some card first, and we'll start constructing the scene. So back at the bench, I won't bother making the kits at all, because just check out John Whiffam's site and the instructions. They're very simple. Right, well, this was the first part of the kit bash last night. So I've basically, everything at the moment is from the kit. So you've obviously got reduce the floors to 3, kept the columns in but taken out the bottom bit so you can see through. And then I've started to think about how I would adapt this so that it's sort of building on its own. It's not a low relief building. So that's the sort of depth I'll go for. I'm not going to worry too much about it being probably the smallest, a small flat, giant for Tokyo. And then that's just the back at the moment where I've got some basic support structure. So the thought was to do this back wall, even though you won't see it, I'm going to make it as a building with windows so you can see out. So I've basically taken what was the other half of the front. So these are effectively the doors, and then I've created another window opening and put some ribs in and various things. So the idea is it sort of sits like that from the back, and I'll paint it up. As I said, you won't be able to see it, but there is an opportunity that you can see through the building, through the 2 windows, to the scene behind, if the angle's right. So I will do a bit more on the kit bash and then show you where I've got to. Whilst I'm doing that, I'll introduce you to the 3rd and 4th rail problem that I have. My layout, other people probably don't have the problem, but I'll explain why it doesn't quite work for me, the Pico 3rd and 4th rail, and the alternative approach I'm going to try. So with my underground line, I need to put a 3rd and 4th rail in. So this is the Pico 3rd and 4th rail system at the front here. So you basically get, I think it's code 60 rail, and you get these little insulators that you can slide on. Couple of problems. So one is cost. Normal, I suppose, meter, just under a meter of track is about just over £5 each. This Pico 3rd and 4th rail, so just to have 2 of these rails covering a meter costs you about 15 quid. You know, you drill holes basically in the sleepers to sink these little insulators. The outside one's okay, but the middle one, if you actually do it so that the insulator sits on top of the sleeper, it sits too high. It sits higher than the normal rails, and the EFE Bachmann underground stock basically bottoms out on that middle rail and doesn't move. And especially when you have changes in elevation like I've got a lot of, it's even worse. So I chatted with Underground Eric because I know he does manage to get it to work, and basically what he said was you normally use like a 0.8mm drill to just sink the that little bit at the bottom. What he has to do is basically open the hole up to about 2mm so that the rail just sits flat in the centre of the track. If I can try and show you what I mean. And that is the only way he can get that middle 4th rail to work with the Pico Flexi Track. So effectively it just sits right on the rails. But it's that cost one that is just prohibiting for me. So I've got about 150, 160 meters of track to fit it to. It's going to cost me a couple of grand actually, because this stuff is just so expensive. And you know, okay, I appreciate the rail is expensive, but they charge you, what was it, about 10 quid just for these little white insulators, which is, you know, is pence worth of plastic. So this is 1mm rod, which gives the appearance of a 3rd and 4th rail. The one is to use plastic strip. So this is 2x2. It's a bit too thick, but it at least it will glue to the sleepers and like the rod, and I don't need to worry about the rod sort of with the loft. probably about 30 degrees change in temperature over the year from summer to winter. I don't want this thing to sort of become unstuck and then bridge across and short out. So I'm going to get some 1.5mm rod, or it's square section actually. So this is 2mm square section. I've ordered some 1.5mm. That comes down to less than £1 a square, a metre in length to fit this stuff. They come in 25 centimetres, so just under a foot in length pieces, which is fine. So there's quite a lot that goes on with the third and fourth rail depending on where your layout sits. So in stations you have to have the outer rail away from where the public are, and as you go through points, again there's various arrangements that you have, which makes it a bit more interesting. So I'll see how I get on, but that's on order. Well, I thought I'd ordered the plastic strips from a sort of a UK eBay supplier, but turns out, well, I may have ordered it from a UK eBay supplier, but it gets shipped from China, and say it's in a port in China at the moment. It's amazing, isn't it? You can ship stuff around the world for £3, but it will take a couple of weeks. Anyway, yesterday we were in Edinburgh. My wife was at the Woolly Gathering, so I popped into my favourite new local model railway shop, Harborne Hobbies. As it's always nice to have a wander around there. And I got some of the evergreen strips. So now I've got this, I'm going to have a go at one section that is away from where I'm building the warehouse scene at the back. So I'm going to test it first on a scene that is probably going to end up being part of the underground section. I appreciate that I don't actually have any trains running to stations that are actually underground at the moment. Everything's overground, but towards the end of the loft layout I showed in the last one, there's a section that can potentially be, well, part of it's going to be under Marylebone Station, and then there's a section next to it which I may have us going through like a cutting, which a lot of the underground in London does. I think it's less than 50% of the underground is actually under the ground, and same for the stations. Actually, the majority of the stations are above ground. So before I do up by the warehouses, I'm going to do a test section here with the third and fourth rail. It's probably going to sit in a cutting eventually, but it's just an area that's not too critical at the moment, and it's fairly straightforward because it's just literally 2 lines. So first thing I do is just give the rails a bit of a blast with some brown just to rust them up a bit. So I know it's a work in progress. So this is the first go with the third and fourth rail. So I've gone for more of a bluey silver colour. When you look at them, they're not the same as the normal rails, which are more rusted. There is sort of a bluish metallic colour to them. So we'll see how we get on. I might change it as I move along, but it's a start. So I haven't quite done a metre. It's probably about 70 centimetres. And that's about £4 with the evergreen strips. Using this approach, which is cheaper than the 15 with the Pico system, but I'm hoping that the strips I can get from China will get me under £1. So the sort of main carcass of the front building, the cut down one's sort of created now. So it's got some depth to it, and I've got a back wall and the understruts. Next thing to do is do the balconies across, but before I can do that, I need to sort of double this one up. So my idea is to have a reverse of the arrangement of this building the other side, so I basically need to mirror it. So there is a function on my printer where you can mirror a printed page, so I just need to mirror the back scene that has the doors and the windows and basically the lift at the end. I'll show you. So you can see all the writings back to front. So the printer itself is just mirrored. I didn't need to do anything in PDF. I think there is a little PDF app where you can upload files to, and it will flip it for you. But the printer dealt with it, so that's fine. So I'll basically just rebuild the second one of these, but with it flipped. I know they say the last 20% takes 80% of the time, but all the buildings are now done, so I'm just on to little bits of detail and just grubbing the scene up, I suppose. So a bit of the grass and the scenics and the road. I can add more vehicles and people as time goes by, but at least I feel like I've broken the back of this scene. And so, time for a bit of mischief. Well, at least the furniture store's open. But I'm not quite sure what goes on down here. Okay, well this is as far as I can get at the moment. I'm still waiting for a few things to come from eBay, including the extra plastic to do the third and fourth rail in front of the scene. I'm quite happy to start working on that, but I'll as this one's nearly up to 20 minutes, I'll call this one a day and post it up. As always, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I do really appreciate it, and maybe I'll catch you in a couple of weeks' time when hopefully third and fourth rail on the underground is getting installed. Cheers.